Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Jenna Nelson. I am the founder of Her AI Agency, and a lot of what I do focuses on AI and digital marketing and the intersection of the two. So today, what we're going to talk about is AI-powered search and how that's changing your visibility online. One of the biggest questions that I get asked all the time is SEO dead? Do I only need to care about what ChatGPT says about me? How do I show up in AI snippets? So that's what we're going to talk about today is how all of those work together, because they do work together, and then how you can leverage each type of optimization to grow your business and your online visibility in particular. So we'll start with kind of the old SEO. This is kind of what everyone knows as showing up on Google. And this is what, we've been, kind of hammering in as marketers for years now. And that's things like keywords and backlinks. Those are still the most powerful ways to show up on Google, backlinks in particular, and then your traditional keyword focused content, pages, things like that. And with old SEO, success was basically measured by getting to page 1 on Google, maybe even the top spot. That was what we were going for. We were trying to show up on that first page of Google results and be one of the top choices there. And then further, once you showed up on Google, what we wanted to happen was for you to click into the website and go into your content and spend a lot of time on the website, because also that lag time on the website helps boost your site to Google as well. So ultimately, you were wanting to get people to engage with your website. That has kind of changed. And so that's where AEO and GEO are really coming in now. So the new reality is that people aren't really clicking to websites the way they used to. If you have a website and you have not seen a drop off in traffic, in click-through rates, I'd be really surprised. The reality is that people want quick answers. They are going to what we call zero-click stuff, which is like the answer snippets that are at the top of Google, or the map pack, like if you're looking for a local business and it only gives you those top 3 results. Most people aren't scrolling down past those 3 anymore. You're clicking on one of those 3. It's like 70% of clicks, essentially. So that's what we would reference as zero click. So AI, what it's doing now, instead of trying to just route you to a bunch of different websites for you to compile all the information yourself, it is compiling it all for you. It is taking all of the best information from the internet, what it thinks is the best information, and compiling it into one answer to give you. And that answer then shows up in that kind of generated answer up top. Sometimes you'll see the people also ask section. That's where those answer snippets are coming from. So search engines now are trying to deliver you an answer, not necessarily a website. Customers now, they can get the info they need, maybe without ever clicking. That's kind of the goal, right? Is to, if you've got a quick question, get an answer, maybe find out more about where you can get more information, and that may be the drop-off point. So that answer has to be really succinct and also really valuable if it's something that you're trying to use to attract your customers. So visibility now is showing up in answer snippets and showing up in zero-click searches, and not just how your website's performing on Google. All right, so now what we have now for digital visibility is essentially 3 layers, and they do all kind of work together. And I've laid them out here in the order that I think they kind of flow into each other. So SEO, again, search engine optimization, that is still incredibly critical for visibility. Google is not going away anytime soon. You still need to focus on optimizing for keywords, your technical health of your website, the site speed, the mobile optimization, that is still really important. And building backlinks, those are good for not only strengthening your signals to Google that this is a relevant site that people want to visit, but also obviously backlinks are like free advertising on other people's websites. So you want those. So don't neglect SEO. This is still really important, but also start incorporating these other strategies as well. AEO is answer engine optimization. And that is about optimizing for AI summaries that appear in those snippets that we've talked about. So the featured snippets, the people also asked boxes. And sometimes, depending on your browser, you'll see like a knowledge. So it just depends on where they're getting those short, concise answers. But that's what AEO does. It is different from GEO, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But the way that AEO stands out is it's truly about compiling that information and giving a short, concise answer. And so we'll talk about how to optimize in just a minute. And then GEO. So that is Generative Engine Optimization. And how that's different from AEO is that GEO is focused on actual LLM models, right? So that is ensuring that your content is actually getting referenced in things like ChatGPT or Claude, Perplexity, Grok, whatever you might be using. So again, different from AEO, as that AEO is coming from the search engine or wherever you are looking for an answer. AEO can also be like if you ask Siri or ask Alexa and get a voice response, that's AEO. And then GEO is actually using AI models to get those answers. And so the beauty of those GEO kind of optimizations are that you can absolutely get referrals from ChatGPT or Claude. If you go into ChatGPT and say, recommend a trademark lawyer near me, it's going to give you several options. And those are because they've optimized to be shown there specifically. It also can answer user intent questions. So if you're going to one of these LLM models and you're saying, how would I establish a trademark for my business? It's going to answer, but then also say, you can reach out to this type of law firm or go to the Secretary of State website. It's going to link those source materials while it gives you the answer. So that's another way you can optimize there as well. And then it can also provide context on you and your business. LinkedIn is one of the biggest drivers of, in particular, what's showing up on ChatGPT. So really optimizing your LinkedIn for who you are, what you do is really relevant. But if you're doing it right, if you're showing up really well online and leveraging some of these tactics, if you go to ChatGPT and you say, tell me about yourself, and you depending on how common your name is, you may need to give it some more context, like location or type of business, but it should be able to tell you quite a bit. And if it can't, then there's not enough visible information online that it's able to pull that from. So that's something that we'd want to change. So again, SEO, traditional backlinks, site health. AEO is about the answers and the snippets, and then GEO is about actual AI models and getting those type of answers or referrals directly from them. And so a couple weeks ago, I talked a lot about ChatGPT 5 and kind of where we're at in terms of how these models are evolving. And what ChatGPT really proves in relation to AEO and the change in search is that this is a permanent shift. This is not a trend. We are moving into a world where we are looking for the one best answer to surface. We no longer want to click through 15 different links to get the information that we need. We want that quick, concise answer. And ChatGPT 5, because it is much more robust, it is able to give us more accurate, better context-rich answers. It's really understanding more nuances in content and producing those AI summaries a lot better than what we used to see. This is why as AI evolves and as the models get stronger, you're going to see more and more of this AEO, GEO really coming into play. All right, so 3 trust signals that AI looks for. And honestly, these are trust signals that I think your customers probably look for as well. But in particular, I've broken it down into basically 3 C's: clarity, credibility, and crawlability. So clarity, again, what it wants is to be able to quickly pull from your content and generate the best possible answer. So the easier you make it for AI to understand what you're saying and get to the point quicker, the better odds you have of showing up in those answer snippets. And the way you can do that is Q&A style formatting. The way people are asking questions online is different than it used to be. We used to go to Google and say, like, what is this? Now we're asking questions. How do I do this? What should I? Those kind of questions versus like, give me a recommendation for a lawn mowing service near me. Who should I use for lawn mowing near me? That kind of change. So Q&A style formatting in your content, socials, blogs, your website, really, really important. Giving concise, direct answers. The kind of play used to be long blog posts, draw it out. And there's still a market for that, particularly with with SEO and content depth, but for those AI snippets, it wants a short, concise, punchy answer. These are not the time when you're doing FAQs to like expand and be super verbose about it. Scannable content structure, and I'll talk a minute in about structured schema and how that works. But if you give AI the roadmap to understand your content, which is what structured schema is, it's going to pull from it more often. And then clearly defined concepts, right? Like for AI snippets, they're not looking for opinions or personal stories. There is a place for that. It's blog posts and videos and narratives and things like that. But when we're answering questions, we need, facts, data, concise answers, credibility. The more you show up credibly online, the more reviews you have, the more backlinks you have. Expert authorship, something I've been kind of pushing recently, is back in the day, maybe 15 years ago or so, it was pretty common on a blog post to see like the author's name and a little blurb about them, maybe their credentials. And we kind of moved away from that. It wasn't super relevant anymore. That's back. And the reason that's back is because that's what AI is pulling from in order to establish if you are credible, if you do have the educational background or informational background to be speaking on what you're trying to put out there. So it's a great place at the end of those blog posts to put like your name, if you're, an attorney, and put your location in there, put, a little blurb about you, about the type of law you might practice. Those types of things pull really well in AI summaries. So go back to doing that if you haven't been. And then citations and references. Within your blog post, obviously, I don't want you necessarily linking to a competitor or something that's going to take focus away from what you do. If you're, if you've got sort of like,
hey, how are you?
So feel free to hop in with any questions at the end if there's anything you missed. So citations and references. Those are things like, if you can link to an FDA article or something that's government related, something that's going to have a really powerful domain authority, AI looks at that and really takes that into account as well. And then crawlability. So crawlability are the technical elements in your site that help AI understand and process your content. So really clean HTML structure, the proper schema markup. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Making sure you're mobile optimized. Almost all web traffic these days is really coming from mobile. So you want to make sure that, your site is clean, it's rendering well on mobile, and that you can really present the best foot forward in terms of your website, in terms of crawlability. Q&A content. I mentioned this a minute ago, but basically where we're really at right now is everything is being structured in a question answer format. That's what AI is picking up on. That's just how human search is kind of naturally evolving. So if you do nothing else, if you take nothing else away from this today, if you do not already have a really robust FAQ site on your page, go do that immediately. Ideally, I kind of want it on almost every page. Your service pages, I'd love to see them in blog posts. Like I don't really put a blog post out for a client anymore unless I've got 3 to 5 like highlight FAQ points in it. But for sure, on your main website, you want a good, robust FAQ section. That's really important. And again, keep those answers like concise and easily crawlable by AI. That's not the time to write like a huge paragraph. Keep that to a blog post or a service page. Blog posts with question headers where not your H1. Your H1 is your title, your keyword that you're optimizing for, but your H2, your H3, within your blog post, make that a question. So how do I install blank as the H2 and then answer that question in the blog? That is also getting picked up really well on AI. Again, short, clear snippets, clear answers. 40 to 60 words is about what AI is optimizing for right now. That's particularly for the people also ask in the knowledge panel sections. So try to keep them, short, concise, punchy, get to the point pretty quickly, and focus on questions that users naturally ask. So if you run a business, think about the top 5 questions that you get asked all of the time and answer them. Make sure you're answering them, and honestly answer them and answer them and answer them all over the place in your content.
Hey, Jenna, is that specifically for the FAQ? When you say short, clear snippets, the answer, is that what you're responding to?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. All right. And then schema markup, which was what Heather was just asking about. So this is JSON code, which is a little techie, it's getting easier and easier to implement with AI without being a techie. But it is on the more advanced side of things, but it's really, really powerful. So there's three types, and there's schema markup for everything. But there's three types that are really valuable. The first one being FAQ schema, which is what I just mentioned. And that is a JSON code that matches up with your FAQ. And then again, you're putting that in the header of your website in your tracking code. And that is essentially what it does. It's a cheat sheet for AI to know exactly what you're telling it. It just makes it faster and easier for it to understand it. And the better you optimize it and make it easier for AI, the more likely you are to show up with that. How-to schema. This is really good, particularly for like local service contractors or local service type of businesses. Steps, tools, materials, tutorials, recipes, how to do things like that. And that how-to schema is really, really valuable as well. And then local business schema. If you have a local business, if you have a brick and mortar, people come to your business or you serve in a local area, local business schema is absolutely essential on your page, on every page of your homepage. But you want the essential business information, address, hours, services, everything that AI can reference really easily in that local business schema. This is something, whether Heather was mentioning using ChatGPT to do it, you can. It's a little tricky, and I could show you some tips and tricks to do it that way, or you have someone do it for you that can do it quicker and easier. These schema markups are really powerful in terms of showing up in those AI answers. So yes, Heather, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So the local business schema, I'm assuming that's like anything that would be on the Google My Business. So title, description, hours. That's the one that I did and put in the header of the entire site.
Okay, perfect.
And then you're saying that, so would you do one for each page in the FAQ, or is this like this is a service-based business, so would it be like what would you, if it's a service, what would you say there?
I would put FAQ schema anywhere that you've got an FAQ. Even if it's a blog post, you can still put FAQ schema. Like if you've got like that 3 to 5 FAQs that I'm talking about, you can have multiple schema per web page. So you could have local business schema and FAQ schema on the same page. But anywhere you've got an FAQ, you want that schema in there so that AI interprets it as such.
So this may be a stupid question, please forgive me. And I'm very new to schema, like it just came on my radar screen. So schema is not necessarily the SEO, or is it?
No. So I guess you could lump it into that. It is a technical piece of your website, so I could make the case for that. But it is a part of SEO, but it is not what we would consider typical like keyword backlink optimization, that kind of stuff.
Well, because I'm just thinking like, let's say this is a business and I go to the SEO side, the SEO on the left-hand side of their overall site, right?
Yep.
And that has the title and the keywords and the description. And I feel like those are the things that are kind of seen. Schemas, what I would call unseen.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
So what you're talking about is what we call metadata. And on-page SEO. What we would consider schema is basically technical SEO or off-page SEO. People refer to it as, but yes, your titles, your descriptions, stuff like that, that's more public facing, that's on-page SEO essentially.
Okay, thank you. So this is so with meta SEO on page, and then schemas like what AI is reading. So then just to go one level on the how-to schema is, I guess I don't understand this one. Is this more of like a service-based business, how to fix your own pipe or something?
Yep, exactly like that. Or if you run a blog for recipes, right? Like you're wanting to put that in how-to schema. Yes, if you for me, for my business, right? Like if I was going to write an article on like how to implement schema, I would want it in how-to schema, essentially, if that makes sense.
So like on the blog post of the blog page, you would actually restate the how-to and place it on that page in the footer or the header.
So it doesn't necessarily pull all of the content into the schema. It's more about tags that show AI where to read the content from. So it doesn't take all of your content and regurgitate it. It just essentially like benchmarks like this is a section, this is an FAQ section, if that makes sense.
Would you do it on that same page? So, /blog2, and then you'd have, got it. All right. Yep. Sorry to interrupt. This is all, I mean, I know the meta, I go deep into that really heavy. went really into deep on every single image was alt SEO'd, everything was alt SEO. That's why this is just another level. So thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, no, this is next level stuff. So this is a lot deeper than, what most people are traditionally familiar with.
But it's such a big deal right now because the stats right now, people, including myself, who go to ChatGPT or AI for search, complexity is a big one, over Google, or it's massive. It's really
changing,
big.
It's changing faster than ever. Just like last month, it went up like 500% people searching ChatGPT versus Google. We're seeing it really pick up more and more. And of like heavy AI users, people who really embrace it, they are only like me. Yeah, same, right? Like I am only using ChatGPT to ask questions. I am not using Google.
Me too. Like, what's Google? I don't even know anymore.
Exactly. So depending on your audience. Yeah,
for sure. And one more thing, and then I'll be quiet. I just want to, while on the same subject. So if I this would actually also work for, because I have more of a coaching consulting side of my business. I would never even think to potentially rank for entrepreneur consulting, just because I don't know. I feel like it's that's a lot. But it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
So, but are you suggesting that maybe the the playing field has, like, we're down to zero again? Kind of like, is this the moment?
I tell clients that a lot. It's like right now we are still in such infancy stages on some of these things that the opportunities are better than they're ever going to be right now. Like, this is the AI gold rush right now, and those that adapt faster are going to. So yes, I wouldn't say we're at zero by any means. And particularly on something as competitive as what you're talking about, that's going to be a lot harder. But if you are, say, like a local niche business, like a bakery, and you are implementing this kind of stuff, then yes, absolutely, you can take that top spot because nobody else is doing it. So yeah, the early adopters are going to win the hardest here for sure.
And just please forgive me if the people. So like this client who's the lake pumps, very niched. Okay. It happens to be my big sister. So we get these little fights and stuff. She's hilarious. So she bought all these domains because she used to do online marketing, but like 15 years ago. So she bought all these domains with like pumps and the name of the city. Like, she bought like 15 domains, and I'm like, girl, I don't think that even works anymore. It doesn't work anymore, does it? Like, she wanted to have like 15 landing pages with different areas of the city. I was like, I don't think that works anymore.
I would strongly encourage her to reduce down to one domain and use slugs of the city name. So for instance, like xxxroofing.com/Clarksville roofing / that, because if she's splitting it over multiple domains, she's splitting her traffic over all of those domains. And the more traffic you get to the domain, the longer people spend on it. Those are your most powerful signals to Google. So I don't really want multiple domains unless there's a really solid reason for it, but I would use slugs for that. Individual service pages, individual location pages, all of within that page, you should tag the location as many times as you can, right? Like reviews, if you post reviews on a page, if they mention that city name, that's super powerful, or that service name, for instance, like gutters or whatever, that's really powerful. So yeah, I would strongly recommend she consolidate down to one domain and like find the strongest one for right now and consolidate down, and then use slugs and service pages for that.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. And I get to tell my sister that I'm right. So that just want
to. You can send her to me to confirm if you need to.
I'm like, little sister's right, big sister's wrong. Okay, go ahead. I just wanted to make sure I could tell her I was right.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so we went through step 1, step 2, and then strengthening your authority signals. And this goes along with the credibility that we've already talked about, but a few different pieces of this. Collecting reviews. Google Business Profile, you hear me talk about it all the time, is one of the most powerful but also underutilized tools in your marketing toolkit if you have a local business. Industry directories, on-site testimonials, those are really powerful. Case studies on your website that shows Google and AI that you have results to show. So that's really powerful. And then, partnerships, right? Like your backlinks, industry publications, trading out blog posts, resource partnerships, things like that, sponsoring events, even if they're online. All of those things earn you backlinks, and those backlinks signal to Google that your website is about more than just what you do and just a business card. Essentially, it wants to see that you've got more going on there than just trying to sell stuff, essentially. So key takeaways, visibility layers, there's essentially 3 right now: SEO, AEO, and GEO, and they all work together. And AEO and GEO in particular are what contribute to those answer snippets and those 0-click results, which are what is becoming more and more popular as time goes on. And there's kind of a new gatekeeper in town. AI is now taking all the content out there, sourcing through what's important, what's not, and creating the best possible answer. So before, that was on the user to do, right? Like I had a question about training my dog. I had to go to Google and ask about training my dog, and I had to click through 6 different websites maybe to get the best information, and I had to come up with that myself. AI is aggregating all of that for us now with the best possible answer. So your job is now to impress AI with your credibility and your clarity and your knowledge in order to get more results in the AI output. And then again, those trust signals: clarity, credibility, crawlability. And I think those go with your ideal audience as well. But particularly for SEO and AEO, those are really important. And so then my big takeaway too at the end is like, SEO is not dead. Do not neglect the basics, the metadata, like Heather and I were just talking about. Your technical website health is still extremely important. So don't abandon that and just go like hardcore AEO and nothing else. I still want you to maintain those good SEO practices, but start evolving. And once you feel like you've got a good SEO foundation, it's time to start building into the AEO and GEO foundations. And I think AEO is probably more important right now. Just because still, as we were just talking about, more people are still using Google, but it's shifting. So over time, I might, say actually GEO has kind of taken that spot. But right now, I think it's kind of SEO, AEO, and then GEO. So that's all the content I have. Happy to answer questions if anybody has them.
So the AEO, what does that stand for?
Answer Engine Optimization. So AEO is Answer Engine Optimization, and GEO is Generative Engine Optimization. AEO is essentially what shows up in those snippets up top, like where it answers your question or the people also ask boxes. GEO is people going to ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity and asking that particular model. So that's the difference. Honestly, what I think a lot of what's happening there is those really big companies with, this extensive SEO, they've had these major SEO teams in place for years. And it's kind of a known fact that SEO dudes do the same thing over and over and over. And
we know the same SEO dudes. Yes, exactly.
They don't adapt. They don't change. They're not on top of the newest trend. They've been doing what's working for 10 years, and that's great, except it's not anymore. And so I do think there's such an opportunity for smaller businesses to, make a big dent there because they're just not evolving in the ways that they need to. They're still, and I get it, they're a big agency. They've run their SEO that way for years. It's working. They're making big dollars. I get it. But it's all changing so fast. Yeah. And I was going to show you in this, this particular sub account, I have a lot of the SEO schema in here. So I'll show you. So let's see. Okay. So I have like this is a roofer in Denver that I work with. And this is an insurance claim FAQ page. And so obviously I've put the FAQ schema in here. And so in here, if you're in GHL, you're going to this tracking code up here, and where it says header tracking, this is that JSON code that you're looking for.
I didn't put it there. I put it into main page settings, not on page level.
It should go on the page level to be more accurate. So you'll put it here, and then there's 2 ways to validate Schema. There is Google Rich Results Test, and there is schema.org. And if you go to either of those pages, you should really go to both. I would always check it on both.
Okay.
So I'll even.
Yeah, if you could show me, I don't know.
Yeah, no. It's a Google Rich Results Test. So what it'll ask you for is either the URL or the code itself. I like to always do it after I've put it live on the URL to make sure it's working personally. So I would take this link, this is, and I would go in here and enter the URL to test. And again, this is already, the JSON's already been put in there, and then I'll do test.
So it's actually just making sure that the JSON code's working. Is that
that it's, yes, that it's being read properly. And it will fight back, you know, if there's errors, if there's something in the code that isn't working right, it'll push that. So, you know, here I've got valid item detected. I've got, shows me what the structured data is, that I've got the FAQ on it. And schema.org does essentially the same thing. They do theirs just a little differently. This is schema.org. But if you go to validate here, and same thing, I'll do that same link. It's going to run this test for me, and it's going to show me 0 errors, 0 warnings, everything that's in my code, make sure it's all correct. And if you get errors, you can quite literally screenshot this and plug it back into ChatGPT and say, this is the error I'm getting, fix it. That works pretty well.
I'm noticing, I'm just noticing at the schema, I'm kind of reading it, but its title, okay, that makes sense. I'm noticing that it has all these colors. Why is it adding that? I'm just curious, is that just part of?
Correct. Those are colors that are present on the page that it's detecting, and so it picks up that.
Interesting, because the reason I asked that is because when I create the schema for this particular page, it didn't have the colors, but I never gave the link to ChatGPT.
That could be it. Also, I very robustly train my custom GPTs per client. So it knows brand colors, offers, all of that. So it's entirely possible that it wrote that for me based on the training that I've done with it.
Okay, got it. So so this is what AI is reading right first.
Correct. It's basically like giving it a cheat sheet and compiling it all into something that it can easily parse and pull together in those snippets.
And this is considered GEO or AEO?
This would be considered, it's going to be most relevant for AEO. I would consider it, honestly, website tech SEO. Where you're going to get the benefit from it is an answer engine optimization.
Right. Okay. Oh, answer engine optimization. Yeah, I was thinking AI, but it's answer engine optimization where that FAQ is. Oh, got it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You think you know everything, and then something happens. I know.
Well, it changes every 5 minutes. So.
Oh my God, I just can't.
That's why I do these weekly, is because literally, like, it changes so often that
it changes. Yeah, I feel like I know, and then I don't, and then I know, and I don't.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
If you're in your basic funnel, then tracking code, and you want to put it in the header.
So that's a specific page. This particular business is new, so I have everything in one long site.
Okay.
Just out of simplicity, just getting started. So which do you suggest I put in the header? Is it I call the Google My Business data, title, description, hours? Can I put both? Can I then add an FAQ on the same page?
You can put as many schemas on the page as you want. If you're embedding videos, put video schema in it, particularly if you're embedding, and I would always recommend you host on YouTube, embed in GHL, because then you are getting the double traffic hit from putting it on YouTube and also on your website, and then put it in video schema.
What's video schema? That's a new one.
That's the same concept, just like how to or FAQ or local business. It literally just tells AI that there's a video there and what's the contents of it, essentially.
Okay, so basically I can tell ChatGPT to create a video schema and then tell ChatGPT what the video is kind of about, or at least I would.
But if you've got it hosted on YouTube, I would literally give it the YouTube link create a video schema for this.
Okay, so when you're saying, instead of saying add video, add image, basically add video, you're saying instead of just dropping the link, you're saying embed it.
Embed it. A couple of reasons. One, it will make your site faster if you're not directly embedding it on your page. Number two, YouTube is the second largest search engine that there is, Google being first. And if you ever go to Google and just search things, you'll start to see that videos and YouTube videos are what are popping up just as much, if not more now. And that's because Google pulls directly from YouTube. If you're hosting it on YouTube, you should be SEO optimizing on YouTube in the exact same way that you would SEO optimize a website. I mean, a little differently for YouTube. You get 5,000 characters in your YouTube description. Use as much of it as you can without keyword stuffing.
Okay.
And then
I never thought about that, because I'm more on YouTube. I know this call's not about that, but would you use JSON on anything with YouTube or from an AEO perspective?
I don't think so. There's no code on YouTube to like embed. So no, I don't think so. What I would do is I would embed it on my website with the video schema and then make sure that my YouTube is properly optimized.
Okay. That's just another level, but that's good.
There's so many levels, more
levels, right? I know. So good.
Yeah.
This has been great. I can't think of another question right now. So one thing that ChatGPT said, but again, it said that it was very big on making sure that like things added up. It was like, your hours need to be on Schema, need to be the same as your Google My Business, and your description needs to be the same.
And we call that NAP, name, address, phone. And that needs to be consistent across every single platform on the internet. If you type your phone number with dashes on Facebook, it needs to be the same on your Google business profile. If you put a comma before suite, it needs to be the same. The only way that directory listings get pulled properly with NAP is if it all matches exactly the same. So I always use Google business profile as the source of truth, essentially. So whatever I've got there, it's going everywhere else the same. It needs to be listed the same on the website. It needs to be listed the same in directories, Yelp, Facebook, Instagram, all of it. So yes, that's entirely correct.